Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this press conference, or I should rather say thank you for welcoming us in your news briefing. I have the pleasure to introduce you Ambassador Václav Bálek, who's the representative of the Czech Republic to the United Nations in Geneva, and he's speaking to you today in his capacity as President of the United Nations Human Rights Council for the year of 2023. So President Bálek was in New York this week, mostly to meet with senior officials, but also to present the yearly report of the Human Rights Council to the General Assembly. So without further ado, I give the floor to Ambassador Bálek, who will then take your questions. Thank you. Ambassador.
Thank you very much for this introduction. Good morning, colleagues. It's a real pleasure to meet you. As you know, I'm here for the second time this year in my capacity as the President of the Human Rights Council. The purpose of this visit is always the same: to meet the key stakeholders and to inform about the work of the Council in the General Assembly, in the Third Committee, and other players, actually, which are interested and important also for our work in Geneva. I've met the President of the General Assembly, President of the Security Council, President of the Economic and Social Council, Chair of the Peacebuilding Commission, other UN and government officials, and I'm meeting this afternoon the UN Secretary General as well. Now let me seize the opportunity and tell you what the Council was doing throughout the year. To a certain extent, I've mentioned those data and those facts already in front of the General Assembly, but I'll repeat some of those highlights I really deem as important. What is important is to keep in mind that the Human Rights Council is pretty busy with its agenda. It was sitting, as far as the regular session is concerned, for 14 weeks and 2 days. It's the longest period in the history of the Council, which is not bad in the end, because it shows that the Council is important and Council is being seen as the body which can deliver on many issues. What is also important this year, or what was important, though the year is not yet over, that we've introduced some new topics into the kind of human rights domain. We've discussed the digital media and informational literacy, and we do have some initiatives on that. Centrality of care was discussed, the rights of children to quality and safe education, and climate change was also prominent. What was also discussed, and where we have the new resolution, is the right of development agenda. Again, stressing the interlinkages between various pillars of the UN system, because of course we are not acting in a vacuum in Geneva. We are very much being influenced, or the Council is being very much influenced by what is happening around us, and we need to take into the consideration what is important for taxpayers, as a matter of fact, who are paying for all of that. Let me say also that we've had a special session on Sudan in May. I briefed you already during my previous visit. We've had also an urgent debate on religious hatred. And going back to the last year, but it has happened after the presentation of my predecessor here in New York, we've had a special session on Iran also. So that's probably important to mention it. We've established throughout the last year 2 new independent international investigation mechanisms: fact-finding mission on the Islamic Republic of Iran. I've mentioned the special session held last November, if I'm not mistaken, and fact-finding mission on Sudan. Let me add that the fact-finding mission on Iran presented its first oral update in September and will present its first report in March 2023, meaning next year. And the fact-finding mission on Sudan will present its first oral update in June 2024, and the first report in September 24. If you asked me actually how far we are as far as the selection process of the members of this fact-finding mission on Sudan, I would respond in a way that the process is taking place basically as we speak. My intention is to really nominate those members as soon as I'll get back from New York to Geneva in order to allow them to work quickly and efficiently and soon on this important agenda. On technical cooperation and capacity building, we've had also a couple of important venues and discussions. This year, the Council established new mandates for countries seeking technical assistance and capacity building. The Council requested the High Commissioner to designate 2 independent experts on Haiti and Colombia, and the Council also approved support to Honduras in the reform of its prison system. And what is important for many countries from Caribbean is the fact that Council also approved an establishment of the regional office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights in Caribbean area, exactly in the Bahamas. Bahamas are going to host that office. What else? Maybe something about the atmosphere, which is pretty important, especially if you think about what is happening around us. I do feel that we are still able to produce good results as far as the work of the Council is concerned. I do feel a lot of support. I do feel a good atmosphere in the Council, a responsibility which is really important for the work of the Council. I'm really, I would even dare that I really do feel to be proud president of the Human Rights Council, which functions really well. Of course, we do have some differences. We don't agree on everything. But if you think about the fact that we've adopted a number of resolutions altogether, like more than 100 and I think 17 texts altogether, and 70%, 74% to be precise, of those texts were approved by consensus. That means quite a lot. That means that there is a really a goodwill. There is a kind of a feeling of responsibility, and there is a space in which we are able to really work together and address the issues which are important for all of us. HRC membership, maybe let me say in passing that we will have new 15 members, or we have 15 elected members. Some of them are new, some of them will serve the second term. They are going to start on the 1st January 2024, exactly at the date at which my mandate will finish, and the Czech Republic will be the country leaving the Council for the next year. As a matter of fact, but there'll be new blood, new energy in the Council, I'm sure, and I'm also sure that the Council next year will be as efficient and as consensual as this year. I do have a really long speaking points, but since we are a bit behind the schedule and we need to finish at 12 o'clock, I would maybe propose, if you would agree, to give the floor to you for your questions and comments, and maybe we can have more interactive dialogue among us rather than me using another 20 minutes for my briefing and then leaving. So if you could accept that, that would be my proposal. And I see nodding, so.
Thank you, Ambassador Bálek. Pamela Falk from CBS.
Thank you very much. And because there's no one else from the UN Correspondents, I'll thank you on behalf of the UN Correspondents Association, and it's Pamela Falk from CBS News. A lot of people have voiced concern that Iran is chairing one of the committees of the Council. Can you speak to that? And then, of course, is the Council looking both at the events of October 7th as possible war crimes and what's going on in the Palestinian territories, or just the latter? Thank you.
Iran is not chairing any of the human rights committees. Iran is chairing or chaired an event yesterday and today, which was established based on the resolution which was adopted last year by consensus by the members of the council, and the Iranian ambassador was the only proposed candidate for that position. And if you read carefully the resolution, there is no space for any president actually to somehow question or change the opinion of the regional groups. And I acted according to the resolution, and I nominated the Iranian ambassador as the chair of that event. And according to the information I have from Geneva, there were no problems whatsoever. Event took place, and everybody actually profited from the fact that actually there was substantial exchange of information. So I don't know what I can add. I had no other chance to really do anything else, and since there were no other nominations, well, it was no brainer for me or for any president. On what is happening in the Middle East, you've just been briefed by colleagues from the OIC. Of course, the Human Rights Council is not functioning in a bubble or in an isolation of what is happening around us. We've had a debate at the end of the last council about the situation in the Middle East, but it was on, 13th of September, so it's, no, October, 13th of October, and since then there was no debate in the council whatsoever. So we are following, I think, all carefully what is happening here, what is happening in the General Assembly, what is happening in the Security Council, and if the Council is going to be asked actually to contribute with its wisdom and expertise, we will do so.
Margaret Besher from Voice of America.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Thank you for briefing. I just wanted to ask you about accountability for attacks on hospitals, UN premises and such in Gaza that's happening now. What role will the UN Human Rights Council have in finding some sort of accountability for attacks from whichever side is doing them? And do you plan to have any emergency special sessions of the Council on the situation in the occupied territories?
Thank you for that question, but as you know, I'm speaking to you in the capacity of the President of the Council, and it's not up to me actually to decide what's going to be decided or consulted or discussed or not discussed at the Council level. So, as I've said, we are following the situation. You know the mandate of the Council, so if the Council will be asked or gathered with a view to really provide information on any particular situation which is happening around us. It's not just about what is happening in Gaza. The Council will certainly provide its view and provide its position. But as of now, as I said, we've had an exchange of information on 13th of October, and since then there was no debate in the Council on this particular dossier.
Yes, if you could please introduce yourself. I'm sorry, I don't know all of you here in New York.
Mariam Ramadi with Afghanistan International News Channel. My question is regarding deportation of Afghan refugees from Pakistan. As you know, many people have been, thousands of people already have been forced to leave the country. And now the arrest of refugees started, and so many of these people are facing prosecution if they go back to Afghanistan, especially women who were journalists, women's rights activists, or human rights defenders. How worried is your office regarding to this matter? And are you talking to the Pakistani government? Do you tell them about the consequences and any developments on your front, Human Rights Council, regarding to this issue? Or if you can just talk about that a little bit. Thank you.
Thank you. That's the similar answer as for Gaza. The Council is the body which consists of the member states, and member states, I'm sure, are following closely what is happening in all parts of the world. And once the Council discusses the situation, and once the Council decides on any actions, then it's up to me maybe to brief you, but there was no specific debate on this particular question which you've raised. And if there'll be the debate, I'll comment on that. Apart of that, let me stress that it's also applicable to Gaza. The UN human rights system is not only created or made of the Human Rights Council. We do have various tools, experts, mechanisms. We do have High Commissioner for Human Rights, and all these elements within the system are working together. So we cannot actually preempt which tool at which point of time will be used or shall be used. So. But as far as the Human Rights Council is concerned, there was no specific debate on this particular question you've raised, and if the member states would like to discuss that issue, certainly there is a space even for this.
Thank you. I'll take a question online from Abdelhamid Siam. Abdelhamid, you have the floor.
Abdelhamid Siam from the Arabic Daily Al-Quds Al-Arabi. I hope my voice is clear.
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay. Sir, since you are the president of the Human Rights Council, which is the highest mechanism of the UN that deals with the human rights, I want to ask your opinion about what constitute war crimes that the Human Rights Council, the Independent Commission for Human Rights, the High Commissioner for Human Rights should pay attention on what's going on Gaza. Can you give us your opinion about what constitutes a war crime, a crime against humanity? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your question, and I'm sure you will understand that there is no actually space for me to really offer you my opinion. I'm here in the capacity of the President of the Council, and I do represent the Council here. So your question is of political nature, and my role is the role to really express what is the view of the Council, as I've mentioned. So if you ask me next year, I'll happily answer your question, but today there is no point for me actually to express my view on this.
Yes. Sir, if you could introduce yourself. Sorry, you have a follow-up question, Abdelhamid?
No, because every question has been asked about Gaza or what happened in the Middle East, you try not to answer them, sir. So I really wonder why you're dispelling all these questions of the time. I mean, just about less than an hour ago, the Shifa hospital was hit by a missile, killing 15 people on the gate of the hospital and wounding scores of people, and you try to dismiss talking about this. So I don't know if that is the right forum or
sir,
or not.
Honestly, I take your questions really seriously. I'm not avoiding them, but I'm trying to explain to you that the Council, Human Rights Council, has not yet set the position of the Human Rights Council on this particular situation. So I cannot provide you and explain that position. And it doesn't matter what is my private opinion. I'm not here in my private capacity. I'm here as the president of the Human Rights Council. Therefore, I'm representing the countries who are members of the Human Rights Council. And I do repeat, since there is no position of the Human Rights Council on this particular situation, I cannot offer an opinion of the president. I hope
you.
it's clear.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Mr. Yazıcı with Sky News Arabia. As a follow-up also on Gaza, it's been bombarded, the hospitals, refugee camps now for almost a month. So I totally understand that it's not personal. You can't give your personal opinion. I totally respect that. But about the Human Rights Council, like what's the formal position, how the council characterize what's happening now in Gaza? It's almost a month. And if there's no position so far, what's hindering a formal statement from Human Rights Council about what's happening in Gaza for almost a month now? Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Similar question. Basically, it's not up to the President of the Human Rights Council to set the agenda. The agenda is being decided by the member states, and if member states decide to really have a debate on specific situation, as I was referring, what was happening in the past, we've had a special session on Iran, we've had a special on Sudan, we've had an urgent debate on religious hatred. Then the debate is there. The agenda is set, council is called up in order, and we are debating and we are deciding. And since there is no such a decision, we are not debating and we are not deciding. And it's not a role for any president or for the bureau to set the agenda, because we cannot manipulate actually the agenda in this way and to express our opinions. And honestly, I'm in my capacity not even representing my country, because as you know, the president of the council is the only ambassador who is released from his national duties throughout the year, as far as the Human Rights Council is concerned.
Abdelhamid, did you have another question?
I found that this press conference was disappointment, at least for me. I'm sorry, this is my personal view. What's happening in Gaza, and we can't ask about this, and we cannot get answer. And there is an independent commission that has been established by the council, and it's been investigated. And they spoke here in this room about this. And Navi Pillay spoke to us, and she spoke about the possible war crimes. And they are investigating what's happening, and here we get no answer. So,
yeah. But sir, please, I do apologize that you are not satisfied with my answers. But again, I'm here in the capacity of the president of the council. I'm representing the council. You referred to the independent commission. Independent commission is independent. It's their view. My views are dependent. They are dependent on the views of the council. That's the difference.
Yes, Margaret?
If I could just ask one follow-up. The Human Rights Council is one of the most criticized bodies in the United Nations. And I just wonder what your response is to critics who say that there are too many human rights abusers as members of the council, that you focus on Israel too much, that you're biased, the council members are biased, and so on. What's your answer to the critics of the Human Rights Council?
I'm aware. I'm maybe on the hot ground here in New York, and from New York's perspective, there might be some criticism as far as the Human Rights Council is concerned. But if you are in Geneva, you have totally different opinion. Human Rights Council is really a functioning body which is able to deliver, which is able actually to seek for consensus. And I referred to it at the beginning. We are still able to deliver 74% of our decisions by consensus. So I don't see that the criticism is really relevant or adequate to the work of the Council. And of course, you can have different opinions. I do respect all the opinions, but those are the arguments I would provide to you. I've said that I'm a really proud president of the Human Rights Council, because though we've had really difficult debates, we also faced difficult atmosphere in the Council. We were always, up to now, able to decide, agree or disagree, but really go further and really address the issues which are important for all of us. And again, if you take into an account just a simple fact that the countries are still striving to get elected to the Council, means basically that they do see the Council as the relevant body, because you wouldn't actually run your election campaign actually to get elected into the irrelevant body. As a matter of fact, it's such a logical, easy argument. So if you again looked at the list of countries who are running to get the members of the Council for the next year, I think the answer is clear. It's relevant. It's relevant even for important countries.
Do you think it
I'm not
needs-
saying that any country is unimportant. Don't take me wrongly.
Do you think the Council needs any sort of internal reform?
I wouldn't focus only on the Human Rights Council. We need to maybe think about what kind of institutions we are having right now at our disposal, when those institutions were created, and to what extent they are really able to react adequately and quickly enough to today's challenges. But it's not just a question which is relevant for the Human Rights Council. The Human Rights Council, in my view, is one of the most efficient bodies in the UN system, as a matter of fact. You don't have to agree with me, but this is my sincere belief, because I've run the Council throughout the last year, and I saw the results. I know how many decisions we were able to make, how many debates we've had, and how many issues we were able to address, and even introduce new elements into the human rights agenda. Maybe I sound a bit naive, but I really sincerely believe that this is the case.
Do we have more questions? Ambassador Bálek, maybe if you have any concluding remarks?
Thank you very much for listening to me. Thank you for being nice on me. I really do appreciate your openness and curiosity. I would only invite you to Geneva, because the atmosphere in Geneva is slightly different in New York. Maybe during the less emotional period of time. But yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador Bálek. And as the President said, the work of the Council this year is not yet over. On Monday, the Council will start the review, the Universal Periodic Review of 14 countries: Turkmenistan, Burkina Faso, Cabo Verde, Colombia, Uzbekistan, Tuvalu, Germany, Djibouti, Canada, Bangladesh, the Russian Federation, Azerbaijan, Cameroon, and Cuba. And on the 18th of December, the Human Rights Council will hear from the High Commissioner on Human Rights on the situations in Ukraine and Nicaragua. So thank you very much.
I would only add that in the meantime, on 23 and 24th November, we will have an informal session of the Council in my capital, in Prague, and we will try to address some of those important issues we are seeing flying in the air, also in this informal setting and informal atmosphere, and we will try, hopefully, to seize the opportunity and contribute to the debates about the efficiency and future of the multilateral system as well. Thank you.
Thank you.